Pay close attention to this video. Two people were kissing in a room when a woman walks in and makes them very surprised by it. The woman who was kissing the man says that she needs to leave and that they could continue with her another time, and then says goodbye to the man and leaves. He says he was very anxious about it and says goodbye to her. The woman is very embarrassed by that situation, and then the other woman leaves them alone. At this point, the man asks the woman to sit down, so he tells her that she should have realized by now that he was a very busy person. He says he wouldn't waste too much time on it and then asks her about her qualities. The woman doesn't start telling a man that she went to college for business administration and that she had worked in many companies, but the man interrupts her and says he didn't care about that. She asks what he was talking about, and then he goes up to her and starts telling her that everything he wanted to know, if she could help him with a few things. The woman is surprised by that and says that she didn't understand what he was talking about, and then he said he would show her what he was talking about. He says he wanted to know if she was actually really good at what she did, but she soon told him to step aside. He said that was part of the interview, and then says that he didn't fail to notice that she was a very attractive person. He tries to get closer to her, but she pulls away from him. This makes him furious about the situation, and then he tells her that if she wanted that job, she would have to do him some favors. She then asks what he was talking about and what those favors would be. He says they were simple and then starts taking off his pants. The woman is embarrassed by that situation, and then the man says that she already understood what he was wanting. She is furious with the situation and throws her documents at the man, saying that it would not work for her because she would never abandon her principles to get the job. He then said if she didn't want to do what he was asking, she would never work at that company. He tells her that if she left, she would never work for any company in that city again, but she said she didn't care about that and that she would never do what he was asking. She walks away, and the man tells her that she was actually very pretty. At this point, another woman enters the man's room and then asks if he was okay. He asks what she was talking about, and then she says that she had never seen a woman leave his room as early as this one had left. He tells her she should stop talking about it, but she says he didn't seem to know what to do with women anymore. She then tells him that since he was no longer understanding women, she would leave, while trying to seduce her, but he comes back and tells her that she would not leave and that he wanted her to stay there with him. She says she could do this favor for him and then walks over to him and starts kissing her. Meanwhile, the woman was leaving, and at that moment she comes across another woman. She was furious about what had happened, and then the other woman asks what was going on. She asks the woman if she didn't do well in the interview and said she could talk to her husband, but the woman says she didn't want that and that her husband tried to take advantage of her to get the job. The other woman starts to get very angry at what the woman was saying. She said that even though her husband was much younger than her, he had never disrespected her before, that he wouldn't be able to do that to her. The woman says she would never lie about something so serious, but the other woman says she was furious and asks her to leave. The woman says that she wasn't going to stay in that company anymore, and then she leaves. When she leaves, the lady begins to wonder if that was really true. She then goes to her husband's living room saying that she needs to talk to him, but when she gets there, she realizes that her husband was kissing someone else. The man is surprised by this and says he didn't know she was at the company. The clerk then tells the man that she wanted him to sign the documents she had brought, as she needed those documents that day. He said he would soon be signing those documents for her, and then she leaves. The man is very embarrassed by what was happening and doesn't say anything to his wife. Later, the woman was returning home with her daughter, as well as a question for her daughter, such as what her class was like, but at that moment, the woman's ex-husband appears and says that her time was up. She then asks for more time as she hadn't found a job yet, but he says that their agreement was that if she didn't get the job, he would take the girl with him. The woman says he couldn't do that to her, but he says that what they had agreed with the judge was that if she didn't get a job, he would keep the girl because she wouldn't be able to take care of their daughter. He then says that since she hadn't gotten a job by the given date, he was going to take the girl. He then picks up the girl and leaves with her, leaving the woman crying and asking him to come back with her daughter. As he was leaving, the woman's ex-husband told her that if she wanted her daughter back, she would have to get a job. She then starts to get desperate and says she didn't know how to live without her daughter. Later, she goes back to the company and says she needs to talk to the man. He asks her what she wanted to talk about, and she said she wanted to talk to him about what had happened earlier that day. The man is very happy about it, because he had told her that she would regret it. She said she regretted much of what she had done to him and said she needed to know if the position was still open for her, but the man says that, unfortunately, the position she wanted had already been filled by someone else. He says that someone else had already accepted his conditions. She says that she really wanted that job and that she would do anything the man wanted her to do. He then goes up to her saying that it was really nice to hear that she would do whatever he wanted, and then asks her if she was sure of what she was saying. She said she was sure of that, and then the man tries to kiss her, but soon she says she couldn't do that and then says that she had said she would do whatever he wanted, but that she could leave. She said she wasn't going to do that in that location, because anyone could come in and see them doing it, so they'd have to go to another location. She says that in order for them to be able to do that, she had thought that they could go to a more private place and that way, no one would disturb them. He then tells her that she was a very intelligent person and that, for that reason, she would do very well in that company. He then tries to kiss her, but soon she says she would be waiting for him in her apartment and leaves. Later, the man was at the woman's apartment and then he starts to get anxious about it. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door and then he lies down on the bed and tells her that she could come into the room. The woman then enters the room and the man said that she had taken too long to come back and that he had thought she would never come back. She then says she needed to sort out a few things before going back to her apartment, and then the man starts trying to kiss her. She told him to calm down and that they would have all night to do it, but he said he didn't want to wait, so he threw the woman on the bed and started trying to kiss her again. He then starts trying to kiss her, but soon she tells him to calm down and not to do it. At that moment, he realizes something was wrong and realizes that she was using a wiretap. He asks if she was setting a trap for him, and at that moment, a police officer enters the room and tells him to move away from the woman. The man tells the officer that nothing is wrong there, but the officer tells him to be quiet and then says he is under arrest. The man then tells the officer that he knew the girl and that they were friends, but the woman says he was mistaken into thinking she didn't know what was going on there. She says that everything that had happened there was a plan of hers, and then it is revealed that she went after the woman earlier. She told the woman that she needed her help, but the woman said she had too much to do. She said that there were a lot of things going on in her personal life and that she needed to worry about it at that moment. She told the lady that she badly needed a job and that it was an urgent matter for her. The lady then says that this was about it, that she was wanting to talk to the woman and that if the woman helped her, she would have a job. The woman asks the lady what she was talking about, and the lady says that she wanted the woman to help her get her husband arrested so that he would never abuse anyone again. The woman told the man that she had done it because she wanted him to be arrested and not to be able to leave prison for a long time. The lady says that she knew that her husband was a terrible person and that he cheated on her with some people, but she never imagined that he would do that in her company and that she felt very ashamed to have married him. She then asks the officer to look at the man and leave, but he says he loved her very much. When they leave, the woman thanks the lady for what she had done. The lady said that she was the one who should thank the woman, because she helped the lady to realize that the man really was. The lady then asks if the woman still needed the job and that she needed someone like her in her company. The woman says yes, that she really needed that job to get her daughter back. The lady says that the woman had been very brave and that she needed brave women by her side.